Only one NFL team, the New England Patriots, represent an entire region of the United States. But for much of their existence, they attracted little attention from the rest of the country.
When you thought about teams growing up as a kid, you know, it was the Steelers, it was the Cowboys, it was the Dolphins in the early 70s. Obviously, the New England Patriots weren't one of those teams that you thought about when you expected teams to be in the playoffs every year.
First of all, I didn't even know where they were when I got drafted. Massachusetts, I still don't even know how to spell it.
Still, the team had its die-hard fans, including a Boston-area businessman named Robert Kraft, who bought the team in 1994. The Patriots' head coach was Bill Parcells, and in 1996, their talented secondary was coached by Bill Belichick.
I said I should have stayed in college because this is a lot of work, and it was because that's what he demanded out of us. He had a very important role in what we achieved my rookie year as far as making it to the Super Bowl.
We're going to make believers today.
Got that right. Absolutely right.
Bledsoe back to throw it. Here they come after him again. And he does throw it up the sidelines, and it is... Oh, no, intercepted now, baby, it's over.
The Patriots were still looking for their first Super Bowl title. 4 years later, they were looking for a new head coach when a familiar name resurfaced.
The first and only person that I thought would be right for the job was Bill Belichick. Every time that Mr. Kraft pulled me into his office, he was the only person I wanted to talk about.
It's my honor and pleasure to introduce Bill Belichick.
Another newcomer for the 2000 season was a sixth-round draft pick named Tom Brady.
When you're the 199th pick, it was like, whew. You know, I was thinking about, as those other 198 names were called, what the heck I was going to do for the rest of my life. And then I was happy as could be because I had a direction. We had a starting quarterback there who I could learn a lot from. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the league at the time.
He also had an owner who, in his heart, was still a fan, and who tried his best to know the names of every Patriots player.
I remember the first time he met me, he called me Kyle Brady, the tight end. All he knew was Brady, so he said, "Hey, Kyle," and I kind of let it go. I mean, I wasn't going to say anything to the owner. I was 22 years old, and I said, "Hey, Mr. Kraft," I said, "I'm Tom Brady." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, of course. You know, I know. You're a quarterback. I've seen you play. You're doing a good job." And I said, "Well, I just want to tell you it's, one of the best decisions you ever made picking me." And I don't think I meant it in a way that was cocky or anything. I just wanted to let him know that I thought I was capable of really helping the team, and that whatever role I was going to be in, I was going to do the best I could do.
His rookie year, his job was to throw me interceptions on the look team. He was kind of a quiet guy, very tall, lanky, skinny guy.
I can't stand it. Run it again. Huddle up and run it again, Brady.
I remember sitting in the team meeting room. Everybody had left, and I was kind of around. There was a notebook there, and it was from my quarterback coach. And it had quarterbacks listed on the top. And of course, me being curious, I decided, well, I was going to look at this notebook and see what it said. Well, I opened it up, and it was an evaluation of me. And it says, slow on reads, slow to react, doesn't deliver the ball on time. Everything he needs to do quicker. That was kind of the knock on me my whole life. Never being quick enough, never being fast enough. And it's very warranted. I think at the time, I didn't really read defenses well.
In his rookie season, Brady threw only one complete pass, and the 2000 Patriots finished with a 5-11 record. Fresh motivation was needed for the 2001 season.
Coach Belichick did some things where it seemed outlandish a little bit, but he had a point.
We'll get some camp T-shirts, and every year they have a different slogan on them. I remember that season we had wanted winners, and it basically gave a definition of what a winner is.
One thing that's always been important to Coach Belichick is that we're in shape, and he signified that by bringing a big old anchor. In the meeting, he says, "You see that anchor downstairs? Well, that signifies all the dead weight that we've been dragging around for the last year."
Brady had shrugged off the weight of a rough rookie season.
In the 2001 preseason, I definitely felt that I was gaining confidence. I remember Laura Moley coming up to me during training camp, and I remember he was playing in the middle of the field safety, and I dropped back, I looked at Laura, I looked him off, I pumped him, and I fired the ball back to the backside, and he came up to me after the drill, he said, "Man, you got a lot better."
I think I gave him a pat on the butt, said, "Good job, don't do it again," something like that.
By the start of the regular season, Brady had moved up to number 2 on the quarterback depth chart.
Talk to me about your favorites. Talk to me about your favorites, because just talk to me about
under.
Love under, okay.
I like sticks.
Okay.
I like double seam. I
All
like
right.
10 seam.
Okay.
I don't like 68 swing.
Okay.
I don't like 58 quick out.
Okay. You just want to throw so you can get on TV, huh?
Yeah.
Over the next 6 months, Tom Brady would get more face time than anyone could have imagined. For the 2001 Patriots, a year that ended in triumph began with tragedy.
Dick Rabine was initially the coach who came out to Michigan to kind of recruit me. He had such a great attitude for coaching quarterbacks. He was never too high, he was never too low. He always said, "Guys, we had a good day, but we can do a little bit better." Or, "Hey, we had a bad day, but we're going to do better tomorrow."
On August 5th, Rabine collapsed while on a treadmill.
We came in from practice, and the quarterbacks all got summoned together.
Sad news today out of Foxborough. The quarterback coach, Dick Rabine, died of heart failure at Mass General Hospital today. He's only 45 years old.
I think that was tough for all of us. That entire season was dedicated to him.
The Patriots were unified, and it showed on opening day.
When we played the Cincinnati Bengals was the first time that we ran out on the field as a team, and it was because they kind of screwed up.
Before we even got into the tunnel, they started calling out our names. And we're just sitting in the tunnel like, okay, they're not going to wait on us. And at that point, we just decided to go out as a team.
A simple act, born of circumstance, that would define their team for years to come.
And we had this great anticipation of this new year, and we went out and just played terrible.
We got our butts whooped. I'm very blunt about that.
The give to Dillon, shoots it up the middle and roars into the end zone. Touchdown.
That was the first game of my career that I didn't complete because I had a neck injury. I'm sitting here as one of the leaders, and I don't even know if I can play next week.
It was a Tuesday morning, and I remember driving in to the stadium. And, it's our day off, and I wanted to go in there and work out and try to get the game plan down. And I remember listening to the radio in the morning, and there it was.
First time having to report early for the training room session because I was hurt. I get a call from my girlfriend at the time, which is my wife now. She said, "Baby, somebody flew a plane into the towers in New York." So I rushed to the training room. Sure enough, there it was on a television.
I remember going over to Drew Bledsoe's house, and I remember listening to a conference call of all the different player reps from around the league talking about whether or not to play the game.
Canceling that week was a great idea because nobody wanted to be everybody wanted to be with their family. Nobody wanted to be on the field playing. But the following week, getting back felt right. One of our players, Joe Andruzzi, had 3 brothers that were firefighters in the Twin Towers that made it out alive, and they were on the field with us at the coin toss.
It just really brought back, the first moment you went to kindergarten, you learned how to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
For Drew Bledsoe, a day of healing became a day of pain.
When you're one of the backup quarterbacks, anytime the quarterback runs out of the pocket, you're buttoning your chin straps up. It was the hardest hit I've ever heard. I remember saying to Drew, "You sure you're all right? You sure you're okay?" He's trying to get his bearings. He goes, "Well, how do we call that check with me? How do we call the check with me?" I said, how do we call Chuck Means? And I looked over at Dave and said, we got to get him out of the game. I mean, he couldn't remember anything.
In that moment, 2 careers were changed forever. The Patriots organization would never be the same. Still, that moment was easy to miss.
I felt like I was in control, but proof's in the pudding. You got to put the points on the board, and I didn't do that.
Direct snap to Brady. Floats it toward the end zone. Jump ball. And it is incomplete.
I remember that night going to the hospital. You know, I think only then did we realize the extent of what had happened.
WBZ has learned that Bledsoe has a collapsed lung, has lost a great deal of blood, and our sources are telling us that this could potentially be a season-ending injury.
And at that point, I was like, what else can happen? We lost the Bengals, a game we thought that we were going to win. I hurt my damn neck, 9/11, and now our starting quarterback is out. What else can happen?
Patriots owner Robert Kraft was building a new stadium to replace Foxborough. Now his team needed a new quarterback to replace the injured Drew Bledsoe.
The news on Bledsoe seems to be good tonight as internal bleeding has stopped, eliminating the need for surgery. Bledsoe's injuries will thrust second-year backup Tom Brady into the starting role for this Sunday's matchup against the high-powered Indianapolis Colts.
Everybody kind of went up and that week in practice said, all right, if we're going to have a good season, you know, you're going to be our man the next 6-8 weeks, so let's go. Let's get it done.
I've always told myself, if you ever get this opportunity, because you never know how many you're going to get, and when you do get your opportunity, you better be ready to take advantage, especially with how competitive this league is and how good, you know, every team you play is.
Drew Bledsoe returned to the sideline in time for Tom Brady's first NFL start.
We needed a win against the Colts in week 3. We're 0-2, they're 2-0. We're scoring a ton of points. We need to find a way to play better and get a win.
Not anything against, you know, Peyton Manning or the Colts. We just kind of had their number.
Back to throw is Manning on 2nd and 18. Fires to the right. It is intercepted.
It was a different feel in that game, and we felt great about what we were capable of. And we went out there and for the first time in a year and a half, really like, man, this is the energy we got to bring every week.
The only thing they brought to Miami was inconsistency.
It's hot, humid down there, and we didn't do shit. I mean, we couldn't move the ball, and the feeling that we had coming out of that game was we couldn't even compete. If we can't beat them, we can never win the AFC East.
The day we got back, Coach Belichick brought us out onto the practice field over the corner where there was a hole, a big 4-foot deep hole.
He says, you guys see this ball? This is a ball from the game yesterday, and this is what I think of it. And he throws it in the hole, and he takes a shovel and starts throwing dirt on it. And after he throws dirt on it, he said, that game's over. We're burying it, and we're moving on. I remember stomping on that on top of that and said, you know what? It's over.
Brady drops straight back to throw. Looking, goes to the end zone. Tom Brady's first NFL touchdown pass. Brady rolls right, got a man open, touchdown! 36 seconds left, Brady drives him 60 yards.
The San Diego game kind of played out the way the rest of the season would play out, with Tom at the end of the game leading us down, putting us in a position to where Adam Vinatieri could kick a game-winning field goal.
Is up on the way. Patriots win.
For Tom to be able to march down the field in this game, everybody else, I think, said, hey, Tom did a nice job, and he's for real.
After burying the ball, after winning the way we did, you know, we were gaining that confidence. We were gaining that swagger. We were starting to believe in each other.
The once 0-2 Patriots worked their way to a 5-4 record in time for their biggest test of the regular season.
I think the pivotal time in that season was the game against the St. Louis Rams the first time.
We're 5-4, starting to feel good about ourselves again. But this was the greatest show on turf coming in. This is the team that everybody labeled, the Super Bowl champions before the season. All the publications had them winning the Super Bowl.
Warner steps up, fires for the end zone, caught, touchdown Rams!
In cuts, slants, and in cuts. That's the game.
And I think you're always trying to compare yourself to other teams and trying to figure out where you stand. I think that game, even though we lost, gave us some confidence.
And if this is the next Super Bowl champions, hey, they're not that much better than us.
In the locker room, you would have thought we won the game because they're supposed to be the Super Bowl champions. What can we be?
Tom Brady had won 5 of his first 8 starts, but in many ways, the 2001 Patriots were still Drew Bledsoe's team.
We know that the inevitable day is going to be here where Drew's going to be healthy, Tom's playing well. What's going to happen here? No disrespect to Tom, but without Drew getting hurt, he would have never seen the field. At that point, Drew Bledsoe was our franchise. They just signed him to a new 10-year deal. He was the man at the time.
A great debate raged across New England. Number 11 or number 12?
When we poll the coaches, we're going to poll the fans, we're going to poll the fourth graders, the barbers, we'll poll everybody.
You would just assume that a guy like Drew Bledsoe, if he was ready to come back, that he would get his starting job back. That's me as a teammate looking in.
The thing about playing quarterback is only one guy gets to play, and I want to play and Drew wants to play, and who wouldn't want to play?
It's almost like to like one person, you have to dislike the other, and that's not the way it should be, and that's not the way it is.
With a 5-5 record, a hard decision was finally made.
Coach Belichick just said, hey, Tom is our quarterback for the rest of the season. That's final.
That's what Mr. Kraft's paying me to do. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the decisions that I think are the best for the football team. T-E-A-M as in team.
Drew was very upset about not being the starting quarterback.
Are you hurt, frustrated, or how do you feel?
Next question.
In any way, did you see this coming, Drew?
I'll just put it this way. I look forward to the chance to compete for my job. And I'll leave it at that.
You never want to lose your job. Anyway, you definitely don't want to lose it because you got injured and you expect to get back on the field. But he comes back in and says,
as I said yesterday, I'm going to do whatever I can, as I always have, to help this team win. And one thing that falls under that heading is to try and conduct myself in a manner that allows the players on our team to support both Tom and myself.
All the work that we put up to that point got us ready for that last stretch drive.
To win their division, they needed victories against their AFC East rivals.
Hand off to Mark Edwards, turning to the left, gonna slam it in.
That's it. That's it. That's awesome. Keep it up, bro.
When you're hot, you're hot. Let's roll.
Week 15, we're getting ready for the Miami Dolphins, and all of a sudden, the training camp winter T-shirt resurfaces in our lockers. And it was just a friendly reminder, I guess, of what you're going to have to do this week if you want to become the AFC East champs.
Lawyer Malloy embraced former Patriot greats before the game and a future Patriot great during it.
Direct snap comes to Kevin Falk. It's a throwback to the left of Tom Brady. He's got it at the 30.
That's when I kind of realized that the coaches made the right decision when they decided to go with him. Not taking anything away from anybody else, but this was our guy in order to be successful this year.
And Foxborough loves Tom Brady. Brady! Here we go! Back to throw. Brady fires it left, open pass. 20, 15, 10, left side, 5, touchdown. Patrick pass.
In a lot of ways, we thought that was going to be our last game at Foxborough Stadium. So It was really a farewell tour for the team, and we walked around the entire stadium, shook hands with everybody.
Merry Christmas. We'll see you.
And I think the fans were so excited, we were so excited, and we're sending this stadium out the right way.
Or so they thought. In their final regular season game, the Patriots could do much more than clinch their division.
This team that went through all this adversity this year, if you won this game, not only would you win the AFC East, but there was a possibility that you would get that first round bye in the playoffs. Man, that's big.
Ricky back to throw, looks, goes to the near side, picked off Tyler. 40, 35, 30, gonna go to the 20. Gonna go down to the 10, to the 5, and he is in. Touchdown.
When the closing seconds ticked down, myself and Otis went over and grabbed the cooler that had the most ice in it, because you know that's what you want. You wanted him to just, you know, get that cold chill going down his spine, and so me and him, we hoisted it up. Sure enough, we got all of them. We doused them.
The celebration was followed by news that thrilled the Foxborough faithful.
As we were flying back home, the pilot announces that the Jets just beat Oakland, so we have another game in Foxborough Stadium.
The Patriots' 2001 postseason began with one of the most dramatic games in NFL history.
I believe a few hours before the game, Belichick and Mr. Kraft decided to remove the tarp off the field a little early. Belichick does whatever he needs to do to try to get an edge in a game, and sometimes that means crappy field conditions for me.
It was a lot of snow, and it started about 3 or 4 hours before the game. And that's right when you're driving in. Well, there was a huge backup on the road, and I'm sitting there in my parked car about a mile from the stadium, not moving. So I called our security guy, and I said, "Frank, I'm stuck in traffic. I need help." So he sent a police escort about a mile out that, you know, found my car, and I followed them into the stadium. Got there, changed. 20 minutes later, I'm on the field warming up. Well, you know, me being a knucklehead, I go out there in a T-shirt, you know, to prove to everybody that this weather's not going to bother me at all.
I didn't feel like it was home field advantage. I was cold, man.
Lawyer Malloy showed a quiet confidence. Tom Brady, just confidence.
We're gonna get this one. Promise? I promise that.
We got off to a very slow start. I threw an interception early and went into halftime, and I remember looking at David Patton and looking at another receiver and saying, "If you guys play the best half of your life, I'm gonna play the best half of my life."
The snap to Brady. Looks, stands, starts to run with it. He is down to the 5, and he's in. Touchdown! Tom Brady! Patriots are back in it.
We called a play, I think around like the 5 or 6 yard line, which is about the limit for me. I don't think I'm running much farther in from that. For me, a lot of the time, the instincts is to stay back there and try to throw the ball. Well, it opened so much that I said, you know what, I'm going to try to take this one. I used to love the way Tom Rathman used to spike the ball. He'd just throw that ball into the ground as hard as he could. So I think I was intending to do the same thing, and as I slammed it, you know, I was going right down with the ball.
And he gets up and spikes the ball and goes wild here in Foxborough.
That's some great comebacks. Keep it up, baby.
It was the 2-minute warning. Raiders 13, Patriots 10. The stage was set for a play that would highlight an obscure section of the rule book and rewrite the history book.
It was called trips right 68 slant, D-slant. There was nobody on the left side of the field from the center over. He said, "God, how can I not throw over there?" Well, the problem was it was a blitz zone. And as I was coming down to recock it and get the ball out to the running back, that's when I got hit.
Have the ball. Charles Woodson came on a corner blitz, and he rocked his former Michigan teammate.
And I ran off the field, and I was so pissed. I mean, I couldn't believe that I'd fumbled the ball to lose the game.
Damn, the game's over. That's what I was thinking, like, game is over.
The play is going to be reviewed, though, Greg.
Wow.
NFL Rule 3, Section 21, Article 2. The tuck rule.
After reviewing the play, the quarterback's arm was going forward. It is an all right. Patriots retain the ball.
You know, I'm a strong proponent of the rule now, but at the time, I definitely, I'm not going to pretend that I had any idea that that ruling would come out the way it did.
It was overwhelming at that point, just to have another chance, have another season, and that's pretty much what it was.
It was much more. It was the first brick in the foundation of a dynasty.
This AFC semifinal boiling down to a very exciting finish. The Patriots, Adam Vinatieri can try to tie it.
The Patriots' season depended on a 45-yard field goal into the wind in a snowstorm.
I know that's a real low percentage kick. How many times would I make it if you gave me 100 shots? I don't know, 10 maybe.
Kick up on the way, and it is gone. It is gone. 45 yards. Adam Vinatieri kicks it through the snow, and we're tied at 13.
Looking back at it, it's probably the most difficult field goal I've ever had to attempt to make, and probably the one that I'm the most proud of.
In all my years in the NFL, I think that was the most amazing, play I've ever seen.
With Brady setting up Vinatieri in overtime, the outcome seemed almost inevitable.
Well, we called a timeout prior to me going out on the field, and all the big linemen with the size 14 shoes were helping me try to clear a patch of snow so I could get the best footing as I could. Coach Gruden calls another timeout, which, hindsight looking back at it, I'd like to thank him for it. It gave us more opportunity to clear more snow on a bigger path and give me just a little bit better of a spot. I talked to a lot of fans after that game, and not a one of them told me they were cold.
What a ending to what a game. I'll tell you what, one of the great games ever played here in New England. We're going to the AFC Championship game.
14 would win it. Yeah, I did, didn't it?
Never a doubt, Marty! Never a doubt, Marty! Yeah! Yeah, baby! Never a doubt!
I think we celebrated that win for about a half an hour after the game. And then we went, we got to play a pretty dang good team in Pittsburgh who are expected to beat us. So let's get back to work.
When the 2001 Patriots arrived in Pittsburgh, some were calling them a team of destiny.
I hate that word, destiny, because it makes it sound like we didn't earn it. We had a chip on our shoulder, and Lawyer Malloy had a bigger chip than most.
First of all, I'm a very upset individual all the time, or at least I give that persona if you don't know me. We went by this storage room. You see a whole bunch of suitcases packed up. And we found out that, before the game, that the bags in there was the players' bags and their families' bags, because they were leaving right after the game to go down to New Orleans to play the Super Bowl. You don't do that to the Patriots.
Yeah, we're coming, baby!
I'm happy to report that despite all the prognostications of doom, the Patriots have shown up here today and will take the field against the Steelers.
But their storybook season was about to take on a new twist.
And Brady Brady is down in the backfield.
Oh, boy.
Well, it was actually the third time that game that the same ankle got hit.
Lo and behold, who comes in? Number 11.
Such is the nature of fate in professional football. Kind to one, simultaneously cruel to another.
Finally, I went in to get it retaped and for them to evaluate it just before half because we had a little bit of time. At that point, I thought I was going to go back in and play, and he decided, you know what, I think we're just going to stick with Drew. I learned a lot from watching him play that second half, that he had a great poise about him. I don't think a poise that I showed much.
Stewart takes the direct snap, stands up in the pocket, looks, fires down the field, could be picked, it is! It's intercepted, picked off by the Patriots. Falling to the ground at the 50-yard line is Lawyer Malloy. And the final seconds tick away. Patriots players coming onto the field. And we're heading to New Orleans as the American Football Conference champions.
We won. Everyone goes in the locker room, and I don't really feel a part of it. That motivated me so much to get ready to play the next week. I was playing for our position. I was going to be the quarterback that day, but I was playing for Drew. When I grabbed Drew, that's what I was saying. You know, we're here, and I told you that we were going to do this, and I told you we were going to do this together.
Our team all season long went out as a team, and we made a decision. I don't care if we get in trouble. I don't care if we get fined. We're walking out as a team again.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, choosing to be introduced as a team, here are the American Football Conference champions, the New England Patriots.
I mean, that's the most excited you ever are as a player. And you realize every sporting eye in the world is going to watch you play.
Super Bowl 36 was an event like no other.
The pageantry of the Super Bowl, it's unlike any other game you play in because there's concerts before the game and everything's really extended. So what I did was I took my shoulder pads off, I laid them down, and I put my head back. And I wasn't intended to sleep, but I think I dozed off for about 20 or 30 minutes. And I just felt good about where I was at. It wasn't like I was so relaxed, I didn't realize the importance of the game. I just felt I was very prepared. Woke up, went out, changed my shirt, threw my shoulder pads on, and 12 minutes later, we were running out on the field.
From here in New Orleans, Super Bowl 36 is underway. Brady first and goal, St. Louis 8-yard line. Brady drops back to throw, looks, fires right. Touchdown, David Cup! Touchdown, David Cup!
That play was initially called F-right 50 out Z slant. Well, the cornerback on the right, Dexter McCleon, he wasn't going to let an out get thrown on him. And he always kind of really squatted at the goal line. If you run a 10-yard out, he's going to be squatting right on the route. So Belichick, him, Charlie said, we don't want to run the out. You know, we want to run the out go. Well, sure enough, I mean, he freaking calls the play. You know, drop back. Soft corner on the right. He squats at the goal line. I pump it. He takes the cheese. Chief runs around him and he spins around and makes just an unbelievable catch. I mean, boy, at that point, we were feeling pretty darn good about the score, and we ran at halftime thinking it's going to be tough for them to beat us.
Unless you're a die-hard fan of one team in particular, everybody loves to see the underdog win.
Unless you're the St. Louis Rams.
Ricky Paul wide open. Inside the 10. Breaks the 10. Yes! Touchdown, Ricky Paul!
Tom Brady, overrated.
After the Rams tied the score up, I remember looking at our equipment guy, and I put my arm around him and I said, they screwed up. They gave us too much time.
It's 17-17. Well, my first thing is I go up to Charlie and I say, what are we doing? And he says, we're going. So I said, all right, what's the first play? And Charlie says to me, as I'm sure Bill said in his here, he better take care of that ball. So Charlie yells at me. He says, hey, take care of that ball. And Drew was kind of standing next to me, and he kind of just shuffled in front of that, and he says, F that. Go out there and sling it. I remember almost getting strip sacked on the first play.
Starts to run with it, throws over the middle. It is caught there out to the 21-yard line.
If I had taken a sack there, I'm sure we'd have just run the clock out.
A pulse-pounding finish to this one here.
My job is to get ready for, overtime. So on the sideline, I go to one player. I hear a little going to the next player. Let's go, man, let's go. Come on, we can do it. Come on, man, come on. And it's just starting to pick up.
Brady stands in the pocket, dumps it off to the left, complete to J.R. Redmond, 30, 35, to the 40, and a first down.
I turn around, and our offense is around the 50-yard line. I'm like, oh shit.
Steps up, fires down the field, caught. Troy ran at the 40, stopping the clock at the Ram 36 with 21 seconds to go.
It happens so quick. I mean, by the time you spike that ball, you got 40 seconds, and you're thinking, this is for the World Championship.
Brady throws the ball to the ground with 7 seconds left, and Adam Vinatieri will try to win it with a 47-yard field goal attempt.
I've got my arm around Johnny, our equipment guy, and I give him a little nudge, and I said, when we go out onto the field and kick this game winner, get your butt down there and get this ball for me. The night before that game, I must have tossed and turned all night. I must have kicked that 1,000 times in my sleep, over and over and over again.
One more time, and the dream would come true.
Probably the third best feeling besides the birth of my children.
I remember I had my sisters down the other end.
We are so proud of him!
I remember catching their eye because I was facing that way, and I pointed at them, and I put my hands on my head like, can you believe this is happening?
We're all jumping around and celebrating and stuff. Our equipment guy came back over to me and gave me a big hug and said, I got that ball for you, man.
Nice, you got the ball.
I was standing on the podium with my arm around Mr. Kraft and said,
we shocked the world, but we didn't shock ourselves. We knew we could do that all year long.
And the meaning in that was, it was these 50 players and 20 coaches that said, we can do this.
One thing that's always been important to Coach Belichick is, he said everybody flies down is flying back with us. So, he got asked to go to Disney World.
We're going to Disney World!
When I asked our PR guy, hey, can I go to Disney World? He said, don't ask me, you better go ask Bill. So I went down to his room, knocked on his door, and I sat there for probably 15, 20 minutes. Didn't want to bring it up. So finally on the way out, I said, oh, Coach, by the way, I got asked to go to Disney World. Can I miss the charter plane and go back to Disney World tomorrow morning? And he looks at me and goes, yeah. How many times you think you win the Super Bowl? And I said, that's good enough for me.
Tom Brady would become the Prince Charming of the National Football League, while Drew Bledsoe was traded to the Buffalo Bills after the 2001 season.
Go 12! Man, baby, you are the man.
Future championships would also come without Lawyer Malloy, released by Bill Belichick prior to the 2003 championship season.
I mean, Lawyer was a captain. He was a good player. I'd say it's probably the toughest decision I've made as a head coach.
I have a lot of memories from that season and from Coach Belichick. There's been a lot of things that happened since then. Not all of them have been positive, but I'm proud of that moment that was captured.
We are all Patriots, and tonight the Patriots are world champions.
To see what one team could do for an entire community and for an entire country is as special as anything that's ever happened in my life.
With everything that happened that year, the symbolic part of us being Patriots, the death of one of our coaches, Dick Rabine, the injuries to Drew, everything that happened that year, it just seemed like there was a special power out there trying to make us win. I don't know if God watches football and cares, but I think he was a Patriot fan. I really do.